Today is February 24th, and I'm actually starting on the back of this worksheet because it is the part that is newer. Now, my friends who are currently working on the front, you are going to be lost later because you don't know how to do the back. Please flip it to the back. Now, here we go. On the back, it's kind of like real world questions. Here we go. For 28 through 30, refer to this table. It says, which superpower would you choose? And they basically asked a bunch of kids, and these are the fractional amounts that each group, like that's how many kids chose it. Now, when they ask us a question, it says, do more kids say they want to see into the future or become invisible? The situation is this. We cannot officially compare fractions unless they have the same denominator, the same bottom number. Okay? Or we would need to change all these fractions to decimals or change all these fractions to percents. Now, personally, I'm going to start because the denominators, and it's only because I've done this in a few other classes, I'm just going to kind of make it shorter for you if you'll watch. Okay, if you will look at each denominator, the bottom numbers, they will all go into the number 100. So, if we change each number to something over 100, then we can compare them. Now, starting out, I will say 2 of them are already 100. 1 second, I can't get the lid off my pen. Okay. Meaning this one and this one. So what I'm going to do is change all the other ones to what if it was out of 100. Now, so starting out with this one. 7 25ths. How many 25s are in 100? 4. 7 times 4 is 28. Your pencil should be writing because I'm writing. Guys, without this information, you can't do this. Okay, the next one. If I change it out of 100, how many 5s are in 100? 20. So 20 times 1? 20. Okay, I'm going to go down to this one. The bottom number is a 25. 4, so 4 times 1 is 4. And on this one, the bottom number is 100. 2, so 2 times 8 is 16. Now we're allowed to compare those fractions. All the ones that have 100 on the bottom. Now, in the first question up here, it says, do more kids say they want to see, I'm trying to find it, into the future, which is this one, or become invisible, which is this one? Into the future, right, because it's 20 out of 100, 23, out of the difference, the other one is 4. So, 23 100ths want to see into the future. Or you could put into the future is higher. And it's into the future. Like these are what they wish their superpowers would be. Okay, the next one. Among these surveyed, which superpower is chosen most often? To read minds, because it is 28, yes. So 28 out of 100 to read minds. Well, guys, it is easy, but here's what I'm worried about. You got to be able to do all this. Okay. The next question. Which superpower is chosen least often? Which one? To become invisible. You got it. 4 100ths. Okay. Now, on the next part, it's basically the same thing. You could change these fractions to decimals. You could change them to percents. You could leave them as all fractions, but then you would honestly have to come up with a bottom number that is the same. Well, when I see numbers like 7 and 18, it's just not that easy to come up with a common denominator. So, what I'm going to do is honestly change them to a decimal. Because I've got a calculator, it's not that bad. Then, when I compare them, it's kind of like comparing money. So, like the first one, 4 7ths. Well, if I do 4 divided by 7, 0.5714. Okay, and I'm going to put a few digits out just because what if the next one ends up being 0.57? Okay, now I'm going to do the next one. It is 3/4. 3 divided by 4, 0.75, which is like 75 cents. Okay. .61 repeating. .416 repeating. Now, all I do is I think of these as like money amounts. Like this is 57 cents, 75 cents, 61 cents, 41 cents. Which one they want least to greatest? So which one's the least? 5/12 because it's 0.41. 41 cents compared to 61 cents. Does that make sense? Kind of. So 5/12. Then 0.57 would be 4 7ths. Then 11/18. 3/4. You got to be willing to kind of get those numbers into something you understand. You could change them all to percents and then compare the percentages. Doesn't matter. Okay, now the last part of this is to me where you would do like coupons, tax, things like that. For right now, they're just kind of wondering how much is that percentage worth. So if you look at this number 34, find the value of each percent. So 24% of 398. Okay, going back to what we already know. Of means multiply. Now, the only new thing I need to teach you is that with percents, you can't just do the math. You are going to have to change it to a decimal first. Well, that's not hard. Bounce it backwards, and you get 0.24. Now I can do the math. 0.24 times 398. 95.52. Okay, so if you will listen, I'll explain what this means. If you had a coupon for 24% off. Let's say it's some super expensive purse that's $398. Okay, that purse, shoes, whatever they are, okay, if you get 24% off, then that's how much the coupon is worth. Now, is the item free? No. It's not even 50% off, but it is a chunk off. The key is you want to make sure you understand, like when you get to the cash register, do I need $300? Do I need $200? What do I need? I'm going to ask you right now, would $300 be enough? How much is the purse? $398. How much is the coupon? $95. Is $300 enough? No. Guys, it's $302.48. You got to be willing to read the question and see what they're asking. I realize that they didn't ask that, but we got to be willing to pick up the calculator and test it out. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So this purse is $159, but this person has a coupon for 48%. So 0.48 times 76.32. Well, it doesn't have to be dollars, I'm sorry. You could ask questions like, which purse is cheaper with the coupons? Which one's cheaper? This one at that? That one's cheaper, right? That one's about half price. This one's still $302, right? You got to be able to play with the percentages. And just remember, a percent is always a chunk of a number. Of a number. Would you be getting a lot of money off if they asked you 2% off of that purse of $398? No. So you want to understand too, is that a large amount or a little amount? Okay, go into the next part. Kind of the same thing. You just got to watch what they're asking. It says that Autry made 45% of the shots that he took during the basketball game. If he attempted 20 shots, how many times did he score? So, thinking about this, he attempted 20 shots. And then 45% of those shots, there's the key word, 45% of what he attempted, he made. So 45% of 20 shots. .45 times 20. How many did he make? 9. So he made 9 shots. How many did he not make? What if they asked us that? 11. You always got to watch what they're asking, because they can change it up. So he made 9 shots, a percent of a number. Okay, look at the next one. The original price of a DVD is $12. The sale price is 75% of the original price. So it is 75% of $12. Find the sale price. $9 is the sale price. Now, please listen, because on something like that, we could go way off the deep end. And we could say something like, well, how much money would you save if they were on sale?
$3.
$3. What if you bought 2 of them? How much money would you save? Listen, $3 for one. How much would you save for 2? 6. How much would you spend if you bought 2 at that price? 18. That's the weird thing. By 6th grade, they assume that once you get that number, they can ask you 10 different questions. What if you bought 100? What if you whatever. It's weird. What's wrong?
I do for it now.
Huh?
The original price is $12.
Uh-huh.
75% off, takes off $9. So the price is free, right?
Oh, wait a minute. Well, here's the way I said it. I said the sale price is 75% of the original price. So that is like, well, since they said that this is the sale price, wait a minute. But they're not telling you it's off. They're saying it's the sale price is.
Oh, they're not saying 12 is the original price.
I know what you're saying. I'll double check. Give me 1 second. I get it totally. I said that the sale price is of that. Feel free to go ask her. Why don't you see? What's she? Okay. On the front, here we go.
Wait, so this is our homework?
Yes.
Oh.
That still counts. I got 62.5.
No. A percent is always over 100. Here we go. Now, on the front, in each group. Guys, we'll go back to that one in just a second if she gets a different answer. But I think I'm right for right now. We'll make sure, though. Okay, on the front, yes, this is your classwork homework. Right now work. Here I go. I'm going to do a few with you. I have done about 2 in each class, so hopefully, here we go. Y'all can get a couple done also. Starting out, it says, write each percent as a decimal. Okay, listen, here is a new trick. If you get confused going between decimal and percent and decimal, please watch. This is actually pretty awesome, and I've just never thought of it that way. Okay, ABC order. What? ABC order, ABCD. Look, decimal to percent. Which way do you go down the alphabet?
Left to right.
That way. If you are going percent to decimal, that way.
The keyword being of, not off.
So I was right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Hey.
No,
No, I know. Okay. Here is the trick. So, if you will think about ABC order, going forward, going backward. This is just another way to remember this. So, they want us to go percent to decimal. they must want me to bounce it twice backwards. It's always twice. And drop the percent sign. Twice. And drop the percent sign. Okay, going to the next part. Percent is a fraction. Guys, when you see a percent, the symbol percent, you need to think, oh yeah, that means 8 out of 100. Then, do the ABC button. Which is 2/25.
Because when I try to simplify it,
You're going to have to, on number 12, guys, when you get to number 12, you do have to you have to write it on top of 100. But you got to remember that if it is a decimal on top of a fraction bar, you can't leave it that way. You're going to have to move it twice to the right. Well, if I move this twice, I now have 6/10,000. No, the ABC button doesn't work, but you should be able to simplify that by 2. 6 divided by 2, 10,000 divided by 2. You still have a calculator to use.
3 and 5,000.
Okay, going down to these. Decimal as a percent. Well, from decimal to percent in the alphabet goes that way. So, twice to the right. On 32, where is the decimal originally? Where does it start? On the back. And this is another good thing that I learned Friday. Someone said, think of it like a sentence. You never put the period at the end of a sentence in the middle of the sentence. You always put it after the last word. So, 32 point. If you bounce it twice to the right, you now have 3,200% or 3,200%. Okay, number 18, fraction as a percent. Now, personally, I have to do, no one should be packing up. Because even if you're ahead of me, then I need you to be checking it. So, 12 divided by 50. 0.24. Bounce it twice to the right. Okay. The last two sections, to be honest, we should have notes and all that good stuff. Finish it, finish it, finish it. How do you do? Okay, so I have a new class in here now, but I'm going to go to number 10. A lot of questions on it. Basically, if I were to see this, I would think of it as a decimal. So, that really is 62.5%. So, what that means is 62.5 over 100. You are right. Got to move it over once on top. Move it over once on the bottom. Because what you do on the bottom, or to the top, you got to do to the bottom. Now, we get the handy-dandy calculator with the ABC button, and you get 5/8. I wouldn't think there'd be one that hard, but you got to be able to kind of work with these numbers. The other one that got people was this one, but it's kind of the same idea as that. If you put 0.06 over 100, how many times do you have to move the decimal?
1, 2.
2, 1, 2. So if you're down here, you got to move it twice.
So it would be 10,000.
10,000. Now, you have to be able to simplify without the ABC button. You're going to get a syntax error. You got to be able to, like, I know that 2 goes into this, and then figure it out. Okay? So be finishing that one up. Okay, I'm going to go down to the next section. Since this is a different class, I may be repeating some, but that's okay. So it's 6 over 10,000, but then you still got to simplify it. No, fraction. So divide by 2.
If you put it on my calculator, 6 over 600,000, it's 0.0006.
Right, but is that a decimal? I mean, is that a fraction? No. And since they want a fraction, you can't write what's on the calculator screen. So just divide, like all you're doing then is you know they divide by 2. So divide the top by 2, which you can use a calculator. Divide the bottom by 2, and then just make sure it doesn't simplify again. Okay, going to the next part. Decimal to percent. Now we learned that alphabet ABC order from D to P, twice to the right. So twice to the right. 32, guys, where is the decimal in 32? Behind it, like the end of a sentence, like the period at the end of a sentence. So, twice to the right. 32.00%. Okay, it's okay. Do that one. I'm gonna keep going. The next section is fraction to percent. Now, I personally have to divide it out first. I'm going to let y'all finish it a little bit. Like I'm just doing a couple of each. I got 0.24. There is no whole number, so to change this decimal to a percent, bounce twice to the right.
Is this the one that you do ABC on?
Because you're getting a decimal, so you would do twice, this is your decimal, twice to the right to get your percent.
But to get the answer,
Oh, 12 divided by 50, right. 12 divided by 50. And then the last two sections, write each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. This is where you gotta think of the place value chart. 0.325. I should not say it that way. I should say 325 thousandths. Now, simplest form. Okay. And then this last one, write each fraction as a decimal. Basically use division to make decimals. 7 divided by 25.
That's my number.
Now, your homework is to finish this. Basically, each class has got to finish. I'm just going to show it, just the front, because the back we did together. This is the front. We already did the back. We just did the back. Please finish it. This is an awesome review for Wednesday's test. Woo! What number?
15.
You're going twice to the right. So what would it be?
0, 0, 0, 0.
That one?
It'll be 0.022.
Baby, if you bounce it twice to the right,
It would be 0, 0, 0.
1, 2,
Oh, that'd be 0, 0, 0, 2. 22.
.22%.
That's what I got, percent. That's what we said.
Oh, you don't have to put the zeros?
I mean, you can put them, but they got to be in front of the decimal.
Oh, I got you. I have to. I thank you.